let's start out with Rob B today. You have a tragic story to tell us. Tell us what happened to this poor Muslim family in Canada.
Well, it initially began in 2007 when the Afzal family moved to Canada from Pakistan in search of better life, and they found themselves in London, Ontario. Now, unfortunately, a week ago today, the Afzal family was struck by a truck driven by a 20-year-old Caucasian male. Salman Afzal, 46, his wife Madiha, 44, their daughter Yumna, 15, and Salman's mother, 74, are dead. Their 9-year-old son Fayez survived and remains in hospital but is now listed in stable condition. On Monday, the 20-year-old man was charged with 4 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder in the hit and run involving the pickup truck. Um, Now, they believe that the family was targeted because of their Muslim faith. The police investigation is ongoing. And on June 9th, just a few days ago, uh, they came out. The quote was that this is a terrible tragedy, and our hearts go out to the people who have been affected. This was from Facebook. There's absolutely no placement on our platform for people who allegedly commit such horrendous acts. We have removed the suspect's Facebook account. So they've basically nuked his online presence. So if you try to find anything about this guy, the only thing you're going to find is the story. And I'd rather not name him because I hate giving these people any infamy whatsoever. Paul Waite is the detective superintendent at the London Police Services in Ontario, revealed that terrorism charges are also possible against this individual because there's evidence that this was a planned, premeditated act and that the family was targeted because of their Muslim faith. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau condemned it as an act of terrorism, as did Ontario Premier Doug Ford and the National Council of Canadian Muslims over the course of the last week. Now, the attack has led to calls for the government to act on a promise to implement online hate legislation that would crack down on hateful material being posted on the internet. But unfortunately, anti Semitism, anti Asian sentiment, and Islamophobia are alive and well in Canada, which just boggles the mind. Mike Arnfield, a former London police officer who's now an associate professor in criminology at Western Ontario, says that the case is unusual because people linked to such killings tend to leave behind digital legacies and a trail of hatred online. So that's why, with the Facebook profile being taken down and people can't get into it, this guy's a ghost. So it's really an anomaly. So my question to you is: should there be tighter controls on the internet to prevent radicalizing hate speech? And do you feel that this is domestic terrorism?
Well, to your first question, can I start?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you said, should there be controls on social media, right?
On the internet, not social media, just the internet, period. Because social media is a niche. So I'm talking about just finding ways to, yeah, like anything that has radicalizing hate speech.
I was gonna say definitely on social media. I don't know how you do that on the internet. That's it's because then we get into regulating the internet. So that's a tough one. Social media, I think absolutely, um, and I think a lot of them are working hard because again, we got a strike for accidentally saying the N word one day. So
We've gotten several strikes. Let's be honest. We've
yeah,
gotten several
but
strikes
I'm saying as far
for,
as like race, I'm
but
talking about. Well, we got
but no,
several.
I'm just saying we've gotten several strikes for innocuous language
Yes, innocuous language. Yes.
or for things that were not hateful. We're not targeting any group. Just random shit. And it's like, okay, so if we're going to get caught, if we're going to get tagged, if we're going to get flagged for this, and we can't broadcast, we can't, publish our, very small website, our very small show for like 10 days, 2 weeks, or whatever, how are these other hateful
That's what I've been trying to
people
figure out.
allowed to post all of this rhetoric?
You wouldn't
It
believe
boggles.
how many TikTokers have stated that. And I know we're getting a little bit away from Robbie's conversation, but you wouldn't believe how many TikTokers have talked about like the fact that there are so many people out there who are just getting away with this hate speech, whereas others, like for example us, are getting dinged nonstop. It just doesn't make sense. I think it's because we get trolled, though. I think that's a big part of it. But yeah,
Yeah,
to your
for
question
sure.
about this, this is a horrible, horrible incident. I mean, unfortunately, it happens often here in the U.S. Probably rarer in Canada. Um,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but I mean, we get news stories locally where stuff like this happens. It's like this is just like it's just horrible. I mean, and people are just simply taught to hate, and it's a shame that people are taught to hate because we don't come out the womb just wanting to hate and kill people because they think differently and feel differently. But for some reason, we are just passing that down, and this legacy of hate down generation after generation. And then, I mean, we understand some people have mental illness. We get that, but outside of that, it's a learned behavior, and it's just horrible. I'm tired of seeing it, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with Representative Ilhan and this Islamophobia that's going on. And I mean, it's just people are scared of what they don't understand. I mean,
Mhm.
I didn't get to show the death threat that she had gotten. Matter of fact, maybe I'll just play it now because it is relevant to what you're talking about.
It is relevant, yeah.
Let me just play it now. But is Ilhan Omar received this death threat from uh, uh, some right wing. It's clearly a domestic potential terrorist, and she posted on her Twitter page. Now, I will say it uses some colorful language. We aren't streaming on TikTok right now, so we are actually okay to play it.
They destroy cultural heritage. They destroy history, just like Miss Ilhan Omar, because Muslims are terrorists, and she is a raghead nigger, and every anti-American communist piece of shit that works for her, I hope you fucking get what's coming for you.
I mean, this is just
Ditto,
horrible.
son. Ditto.
This
I
is just
hope you get
horrible.
what's
I mean,
coming for you too. Shit.
and I'm sure this is definitely not the only one she's gotten, and this is not just happening to her. Um, this is horrible. All right, Lizzie, go ahead.
I mean, I just don't want to make it sound like I am compassionate towards these people because I'm not. I just don't understand how you wake up every day with this level of animosity towards not only people, your next door neighbor, the folks you see walking down the street, but people you don't even know. A whole
Mhm.
class, a whole group, a whole race of people, a whole religion that you don't even know. Like, yeah, I got folks in my life that, I've come across that I can't stand, that, I wouldn't save even if you paid me $10 million. However, I don't look at the world with a lot of hate. I don't hate a group of people. I don't hate a color of people.
I
I
hate
don't hate
individuals. There are individuals. I hate Trump.
those. There's individuals, but then there's the whole group. I don't hate a gender of people. And
Right.
it seems, these people, they just wake up spewing all of this vitriol. And I don't understand that. Like, your soul is just raw and ugly. And I don't know how you sleep at night. Like, I don't consume myself every day worried about people I don't like and finding ways to get at them, to get back at them. Or nor do I wake up every day thinking that everyone is trying to get back at me. And so I'm always like, yeah, there's certain stories where I'm just like, okay, fuck that motherfucker. But then there are certain stories where I'm just like, I do not understand this. I really do not understand this. And again, if we go back to, Representative Omar, like she said, there are people in the Capitol, in Congress, who they haven't said it outright, but their actions show that they hate her. They hate her culture, they hate her ideology, they hate her religion, and that overwhelms anything that she has to say, whether it be good or bad. So this just makes me so angry and sad at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Johnny?
I feel like oh, Liz is still talking. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No,
She's
go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say what I agree with you, Liz. Like when you said that these type of news stories make you mad and like sad at the same time because it's like with somebody like with a shooting or with like attacks, there's some type of motive behind it. With this, I mean, it's a hate driven motive, but it's like, how can you fix what's in somebody's soul? You know what I mean? That's hard to like rectify. So in this case, the only thing you can do is policy change. The only thing you can do is some type of like instead of federal law, like I think in the article she somebody mentioned like a jurisdictional approach, like make it harder for these racist online, like Rob mentioned, but in general, like start really penalizing, start really, I don't know. That's hard. It's hard. It's hard because I feel like we have been doing that in America anyway. I'm not sure because Canada is not as common. Hey, Gingy. But I think that yeah, it's hard. This is such a sad story because at the end of the day, it was a whole entire family,
and
and
the other
and the
problem
little
with
boy fighting for his life.
the other problem with the internet is regulating free speech. The government gets involved in regulating the internet.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Well, thank you
But
for those
give me
comments. Robbie, did you have
give
any
Yeah,
more
no,
comments before I move on?
I do. I just wanted to thank you all for the conversation and your comments. And I guess I'm getting really tired of these phobia terms, is like Islamophobia, homophobia. They're not afraid of these people. They're afraid of their own small ideas and what these foreign entities represent to them.
Yeah.
They're bigots.
Their own
They're
fear.
bigots. They're racist. They turn, some of them turn to murderers, and this type of hatred has no place in our society. And Neo, I understand what you're saying about, you know, that slippery slope, policing free speech versus letting people express their ideas. But when you're hate mongering, it's got no place. And the internet is propped up by our governments. So our government shouldn't be propping up a platform or allowing that type of activity on the platforms that are government owned.
I agree with you, Rob. I think, it's a matter of semantics, but it's important semantics because when you
Mm-hmm.
say homophobia, you're not afraid of homosexuals, you hate homosexuals. When you're a xenophobe, when you say xenophobia, which means, a hatred of foreign people, of people who are not from your own country, you're not afraid of them, you hate them. And so I think we a lot of times we're dummying down the terminology to make it easier for these people to say, okay, well, it's not that big a deal, but it is. This is pure unadulterated hatred. Like Rob said, it's not a phobia, it's hatred. And we need to start acknowledging that and dealing with that, whether it be, at the government level or whether it be in the streets. Like it's gotten so out of hand. And again, I feel so horrible for this family because they were going about their business the way we do every day. They were minding their business, not bothering anyone. And this guy decided he was going to get in the car and crash into them for no reason,
Yeah.
just because he
Yeah.
didn't like their ideology. Like that is hatred. That's not a phobia. That's not he's fearful of them. He's afraid. That's a phobia. That's a hatred.
Yeah.
That's a hatred.
And that's
And we need
what's heartbreaking is the sole survivor of this attack is a 9-year-old orphan. Lost his mom, dad, sister, and grandmother in one shot.
who will never be the same. Who will never be the same.
No.
Who will never be the same.
All right. So comments online. What the WTF is? This is Jose. Is going on in the world? So much ugliness. Jacqueline Robinson, horrifying. If it had happened here, the media would have failed by trying to normalize the killer, using a cherub-like childhood picture of him or describing how he grew up in a loving home.
Or mental illness. Mental illness.
Mental illness is the more common one now.
And that's not to say that there's not a lot of mental illness out there, because there is. However, in this country, especially with the media and law enforcement, we tend to attach mental illness to a certain hue.
Mm.
You're mentally ill if you are lighter than the common person. You're a thug or
Thug.
a terrorist if you're darker. That's what I mean. I'm not trying to downplay mental illness, but we look at it, it is advertised differently in this country.
All right. Paulette Bertrand says, I followed the funeral and was totally impressed with all the speeches, all hardworking, educated people. Jeanette Brown, vehicular terrorism really frightens me.
Yeah, because you can't do anything. Like, you
And it
can't
comes out of
prepare.
nowhere. Yeah.
It comes out of nowhere. Comes out of
Um,
nowhere.
Jacqueline Robson also says, I will say this. I find it fascinating that Twitter and Facebook have done more to hold IQ 45 accountable than the Justice Department, Congress, and law enforcement. That is an interesting
That goes back. And that goes back to, where a lot of this hatred is coming from, because, it was boiling for decades underneath the surface. And again, 45, Trump gave these people the right to say, we hate. He told them it was okay for you to hate someone who does not share your skin color, someone who is not white, someone who is not a white male. He made them feel comfortable in their skin. And now we are seeing the repercussions of that. And it's awful. We're all paying for it. White people, Black people, other people, we're all paying for it. We're all paying for that.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for that topic, Rob D. We've got to move on to our next one. Lizzie.